Okay, we're back to do another update video on how this project is going. It's a bit behind. I kind of wanted to get it released by now. I'm just actually run out of enthusiasm a little bit, but we're getting there. Like, I'm getting back into things. Hopefully once it gets released and people start using it, then that will help the enthusiasm. I expect it will almost definitely. So anyway, last time I should have to click on this. Different microphone, so hopefully it won't be the whole only one channel type thing. I don't know why it's recording like that. But this microphone, I don't have quite the feedback that I had on the previous one. And it's not quite as... It's going to pick up more background sound than I think I'd prefer. So anyway, we're going to go back to Space Invaders. So this is what we've got. So that's not what we've got. This is not Space Invaders. This is a different project. That's actually a project I just made for the quick start demonstration. This guy current. It doesn't actually. This is the one big bug that it doesn't actually close the previous project. This guy current. Those are under the things of I really can't be bothered fixing, but I probably will before I release it. But I'm just like that's something you can release in the 1 week later update. So I have changed a few things in this because there were issues. I changed, like at the moment they don't look like aliens anymore, and the reason that I did this is because I wanted to test the collision detection. So in the previous video there were some bugs. One of them was that it didn't do collision detection properly. The other one was that the Boolean variables were acting weird. Those have both been fixed. There wasn't actually a problem with the collision detection, I don't think, apart from the fact that invisible objects still counted to be collided with. So sometimes it was hitting, I was going to point at the screen for a second, but around here, the original, because these are all clones of the enemy, they were down here and you could shoot that. And also there was another big problem. It wasn't actually a bug so much with it wasn't so much a bug with the Glitter IDE itself. It was a bug with me writing a game using the Scratch kind of world. So what happened was the enemies, if you look at the enemy, I've changed the enemy slightly. So you've got this do movement thing. So when they get the move enemies message, it does the do movement. And before I had deep within here, I had the thing that checked to see if you had hit the bullet. And the problem was is that the do movement, if you actually run it, you can see it's not doing it every single frame. It's going dun 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 dun, because ultimately I want it to go faster and faster as we move along. We're going to do that today, hopefully. Though I am feeling sick, so we're only going to do a short video. So there's a whole bunch of stuff written out here. Oh, I added in some extra commands to dump all the variables and everything like that. So there's some new commands thrown in there. But the problem, of course, is that if the bullet's going through here, it can actually get most of the way past past one of the enemies before it actually does the check. So the simple check is it's a different thread. So when the game starts, this is the whole. I've also added a new names. So I have sorry, yield and seed. I don't know if that's a very good word. I can't remember what the other one is, because I'm trying to find a good word for giving up the frame. So there'll be like a discussion, like I'll have an entire video on the and description on how the multitasking really works underneath. But anyway, the point is that this thing is doing it every frame. So this bunch of code is happening every single frame. Whereas the actual movement is not every frame. So this is always checking to see if you're being hit. So this is why it would really help to have collides probably something like, it's probably going to have the square bracket or a curly bracket because it's not a function and I don't want to thing, but the idea would be you'd be collide with bullet or whatever it's called, collide bullet B, and this would be done, but it doesn't look like very good syntax, but maybe you don't even need that. You can just go collide bullet B or something, and that would mean when you hit a bullet then you'd have a reference to that bullet, and then you could call methods on you could call functions on the bullet, hello or something like that, and then you could do you wouldn't have to worry about which frame you're testing it on, because this would be done by the underlying infrastructure. But anyway, we'll get to that in a much later point, and probably actually not that much later, because I really want that functionality in there. So anyway, I've changed that code. So now we're kind of thing here. So we've got this extra command here, which is frames switch. So I think I might have mentioned that that costumes have variable names. So this one's called exp1. So this is my new, and that's new, and this is new 3. So it's hidden in the top corner here. That's very hard to see. So this is the label, and this is the variable name. And I was going to say, well, this is actually pointless at the moment because it doesn't have the functionality, but it does actually. I didn't realize that I'd actually implemented it ages ago. So you can switch to so this basically says this is a frames global variable for this enemy, and then you can say frames.exp1, which is the variable name of the costume, and then you can call this switch. And so I'm trying to force people to do object-oriented programming. So this is how you would do it in an object-oriented programming way. You might be able to go costume equals something at some point. You can go costume equals, but costume I think has to be like exp1 or something like this. Again, I can't quite remember the syntax. I suppose I could look it up. I don't know if I've written it down. Next costume, set costume. There's actually several ways of setting the costume. It just says set costume. But there are actually other ways of doing it. So you can set costumes by changing the costume index variable. But anyway, this is a sort of nice. So you might be able at some point go set costume frames dot. Yeah, I'm trying to get away from some of these things. This is how they're referred to in Scratch as costumes. But later on they will be referred to as frames probably, or something separate. And also I really do want to have animations, so there'll be something separate from a sprites that will be the animation list, and then any object can refer to an animation. It doesn't have to be attached to that, so multiple sprites can share a particular animation, and an animation will just be a block of pardon me, a block of frames that will probably have a default speed as well, so that you can divide things up instead of having all costumes together. But you can do kind of animation. If you put in a number here, I believe that will do the offset from that frame. So if you have like a 4-frame animation starting at frame exp1, then you can go and do a little loop where you go 1, 2, 3, 4 type thing. Which we might test today, or we might not, but because I want to go on to some other functions. So the thing that's putting me off is like, oh my gosh, there's so many hidden little functions and weird things to do. I think you can also go fs. So I just tested that works. It does work. So I've tried to put in 2 or 3 letter versions of major variables. Major things, so that you can kind of, if English isn't your first language, you only have to learn like 2-letter codes. So anyway, we've got this. So let's quickly actually continue on with the game. So I have to go back and try and remember how the scripts work. So the enemies are the things that fire the broadcast site hit. Alright, so we'll go in here. We should have an on-site hit. So down count equals 2. So it's been a while because I coded this up and then it didn't work. And we went through and we changed all these things. But there isn't. I wonder if we can. I wonder if we can just do this, because the script is doing it here, right? So how do we fire? Okay. While in game, broadcast move enemies. Well, why don't we? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Well, we're gonna switch that out from there. So we're not gonna do that on the side count. That goes here, and then we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna say if. What do I call it? And then we're gonna go. We're gonna have a new. We're gonna have a new function. We're gonna call this. Oh, well, there's going to be a problem, isn't it? If you go to the side hit, multiple things are going to hit the side. Oh, are they not? Because all right, okay, I think there's. So my problem is one of the enemies is going to hit the side of the screen, over here, and then they're going to call side hit, and then the other enemy down the next row is also going to call side hit, and it's going to just vibrate backwards and forwards. So we'll just test that this doesn't happen. But I think this shouldn't happen because I think in the code you can't do a side hit with the right hand side if you're moving left, and you can't do a side hit. So as soon as one of them hits, then the direction will change, which will make for but it seems to work fine. Alright, so what I was going to do is then I was going to say broadcast move enemies, move down, move row down, I don't know, move down. Alright, so we'll have to make a new message. We're going to change the names later. So back to the scripts. On move down. I don't know if we need this my speed thing. Why do I have minus my speed and speed? Alright, well, we don't need that anymore. Don't know what happened. Speed is a stage. You can go stage.speed just to make sure that that's a speed thing. So this broadcast I think I can see why this is not working the way that I think it's going to work. The biggest problem is, like, I don't actually know if this is a good way to write games. So if it's going to broadcast side hit, it's probably not going to actually... Oh, this is not good. Broadcast side hit. I kind of feel like... Alright. Okay, I'm seeing lots of potential problems. These are not problems with the editor. These are problems with the underlying Scratch sort of environment. If I do that, because broadcasting the side hit might not actually be executed until everything has already moved. So it will work fine, except if I did something more complicated in the here. Alright, so we'll go back to here. scripts. No, no, we won't. We'll go back to the enemy. Again, I'm just... Alright. Oh, we've got this down count stuff, so why does that not actually work? Oh, I think I know, because it automatically goes down. Okay. Well, we're going to get rid of this, and we're just going to put it up here. So we're going to forget the down count. We're just going to be instructed by the stage to move down the amount that we're supposed to move down. So let's just find out what happens when we run that. So they're going very slow. I think I should increase the speed here. So what I'm worried is that if I'm not careful, these will get out of sync. But we'll find out. And it's doing it. It's going down. I think we need to just change a few things. So speed equals 2. Movement delay. So I feel they go down quickly because there's no movement delay. So we're going to change the movement delay so that where's movement delay? Oh my gosh, there's so many things to look for here. Movement delay, movement delay. Alright, movement. Oh, it's right there. Okay. So you can go Control K. We don't need that anymore. So I was a bit worried. We don't actually need that anymore, I don't think. Movement delay equals 0. Hold on. Oh, I think I put that in to make it. We don't need to do that. Alright. Oh, actually, we do. Right. Yeah. That was just me putting in code to try and get it to do certain things that we don't need to do anymore. I want the movement delay back again. Movement delay equals start. Alright, and we're going to add constants so that this makes sense. But at the moment there are no constants. But I'm just going to cheat the constants. They're just going to be variables that you don't change. And I am going to say have var and let. I'm pretty sure I actually do, but I'm not going to bother trying them so that you don't have to type them so much. You do have, sorry, any. So any x equals 4. This is anything, so this is kind of like scratch variables. So then you could reassign x to be 4, but I will use like let x equals 4. We'll type that implied typing, so the type of x will be an int because you gave it an int to start with. So I can't actually remember if that option's in there. It's not that important. So anyway, we're going to move a bit faster. And we're going to change the speed. So we're going to put these two things together. Where's the speed? So these are all the important. So we'll put the enemy movement stuff. It does not seem to do exactly what I would like it to do. As I feel like if I go 10, it does go down faster. That's so strange. Something is wrong because it seems to move a lot faster. We will go int down, move down count. Move down count equals 5. So somewhere in here on side hit equals alright, I think I should have left it a bit faster. Yeah, maybe that's fine. Alright, we have to get rid of these guys. I have to get rid of one whole. Let's just test that this is correct. We'll get rid of one whole side, and it should keep going to there. Ah, there's a problem. So why does it almost work? Okay. That side seems fine, but this side, okay, we really need to go faster. Movement delay, this is getting silly. 2. So we have a bug. So we'll take out this side of the, oh come on. And okay, so that worked. Alright, we'll just get rid of all of these ones. So it did clearly not work last time, and that one caused a problem, that the bullet didn't kill the thing. So again, it's like, oh, there's so many problems with this. This might not be the best way to write games. So, but we'll get there in the end. What's it going to do when there aren't any actual... Well, that doesn't look right, did it? Oh, there. So that could be okay, I think. It could just be... Alright, so we'll try one more time. So we had a problem with the left-hand side not doing what it was supposed to. So what is going on with that one? So is it going to be any better? Or oh, that's even worse. So we'll take these guys out. And we'll see what happens here. Oh, okay. So for some reason, the left-hand side ones are still counted until they're not. No. So hold on. How many are there? So it's like the very first row do actually work correctly, and then the second row doesn't. So if I take out that row, sorry, that column, we'll see what happens. And I am going to make it so I was watching the so that one works fine. But then if you do it on the second row, second column, it doesn't register that. Alright, okay, so that's intriguing. So let's have a look at the enemy. I was looking at the, what's it called? The MSX version of Space Invaders. The MSX is a computer from it's a type of, a way of making computers from the 80s, the Japanese, also developed by Microsoft. A sort of standard way of building computers back in the day when computers were all very different. And there's a version for the MSX type of computers that has Space Invaders, but it doesn't work exactly like Space Invaders, but it does have the sort of, it moves the rows down one at a time. And I was going to add that in so it kind of looks a bit more like Space Invaders, but doesn't have the... If you look at the original Space Invaders, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So here we're going to do movement. And we're going to check this. So what we're going to do is, if we've been destroyed, but this sprite doesn't exist. So if the sprite X is less than max.top left, okay, we will do one thing. We will have a variable, say, destroyed equals false. And then down here, I'm going to go destroyed equals true. And then here, so this is the problem one, right? So something goes wrong here. Left hit sprite X marks dot top left dot X, and the one thing I want to know, destroyed equals, so I want to just know, we can sort of lay this out a bit better. I want to know left hit if it's not actually getting rid of the clone properly. That I want to check if delete actually works. So destroyed should never be true, because as soon as it becomes true, that clone should be deleted. So it should never actually get to this. Unless there's some way that it can be kept alive. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, there would be a kind of funny bug when you hit the enemy just as it's going down the screen. Actually, that's a pretty... Oh no, we've covered that. So we've got the destroyed. So it will always go down before it actually explodes. So if you hit it, if you hit the thing on the side, it will not explode until it's finished going down a level, which is fine. That's an acceptable bug. All right, let's go. So we'll just test what the original side will say. So we've got left. So it does actually call it 3 times. So this is a slight problem. And none of them have been destroyed. So 1, 2, oops, 3. Alright, let's see what we've got here. So we're going to have to go back and look at the code. So minus 119, minus 117. Alright, well those look like acceptable numbers. So what happens if I destroy these ones? So this is where the error should come in. So we're looking at, they should be minus 218-ish or 219-ish. Destroyed equals false. But only one of them hit the side. And you know what's doing it? Yes. I do know what's doing this. This is the problem with clones. It's always the problem with clones. Where's it going to say if is clone to movement? So the problem is that little annoying clone So the enemy is on the screen and you can see them and they're moving. We can in fact go back to their layout and we can click on that and then we can say it is visible, but down here in the code I must say set visible false or something. Constructor show flag hide. So we're gonna not hide it. And we're gonna get rid of this line. So I think this is what's happening. So I think what is happening is this little guy here, which is the original enemy, is causing the problems. And it's like, so at some point this toolkit will have the ability to not have sprites be within the actual project. They will only be used to clone or to make copies from. So they will be like prefabs in Unity speak that exist external. So at the moment, because I'm following Scratch, everything has to be in there at some point. So in the meantime, you're going to have to do this. So you're going to say if it is a clone, and then you can see that this one is no longer moving. It does go down the screen though, which is quite funny if you think about it. So before I had the problem where that one was in the way, and but you can destroy it, but you can't delete it because it's not a clone. So it just explodes and stays exploded because the delete does nothing when you're not the clone. But you should find that we're back in business because the clone isn't getting in the way. So looking nice. Looking good. Alright, so we will go back to having that hidden. Once it's hidden, it won't have the problem of being exploding because you won't be able to see it. And I think we can where's the move down thing? One move down. I think what I will do is I'll have like clone and then on here. So that's the thing that I would want to do is everything in here is only happens for clones. Though I wouldn't say clone because there's already cloned. Like cloned is what happens when you're cloned. This is the function. This is the event that happens when you're cloned. So saying clone isn't going to work. So we might have to think on the syntax for that. But yeah, because this is a problem. But I might not. This might just be better to have prefabs. And if you have prefabs, what's going to happen is that every single thing is going to have isClone in there. IsClone is not a feature of Scratch, it's an extra function. But all that does is there's an extra cloned block that's generated in the Scratch code, and that just sets a special system variable cloned equals true, and then this is just checking that variable. So it's hidden away, but it's just adding in the functionality. So anyway, so we've got that. So the first thing I think we're going to do, I just wanted to get onto making we can do one other thing. How much time have I spent doing this? Because I don't want to do it for too long. So I want to test the scene stuff out. So we're going to make some scenes for the title screen and for the main game, and make it scene friendly. And then we might, but before we do that, we're going to add some. We're going to do the things that I said that you couldn't do before, which is I said that there wasn't any in the introduction video that I did last year, that there was no support for sound, but there is some support now. So we can add things and it doesn't always show them up properly. So that's annoying. So this little button thing here is a pain. If I go back to the sprite list and then go to the sound list, it's sort of showing it up. Anyway, we've now got a shoot variable. So it's got the variable name shoot. We'll import another one. We'll do the explosion. Oh, I don't know why it does that. We'll have to that's another, oh, it does correct it. So go back. I've had that problem where it refills these things out. I've had that before, so should be fine. I don't think that's the explosion I wanted. That's very loud. And you're going to hear it through the microphone, so maybe that's not a good idea. But anyway, so this is the thing. This microphone that I'm using right now, it doesn't have headphones, I think. So the other one I would have headphones on, so I would hear the sounds separate from the mic, so you wouldn't pick it up. So I'm sure this is going to sound terrible. But anyway, we do have where's the constructor? All right, so in here we're just gonna chuck in sounds.shoot.play. You can also go play sounds.shoot, and you may be able to do, though I can't remember if I did it, shoot. I think you can do this because I think this is how it imports Scratch code. But anyway, we will do it. This is the preferred way. So now we can go, and when we can shoot bullets, but it's very loud. I just realized I can do one thing. I can turn the volume down on my computer. So the one thing you can't do is you can't set the volume. You can't set the volume of the sounds, and that's just because the JavaFX doesn't, like on my computer, it doesn't support me changing the sound. It only supports me changing other things similar to the volume, sorry. So I haven't gotten around to fixing that. You can do play and wait. So this will play the sound and then it will wait till the sound is finished before you continue. So play and wait of sound samples. The other problem is that again, I'm relying on the inbuilt Java sound audio stuff, and it at least on Linux doesn't support certain types of WAV files. It doesn't support the ones that are non-linear. So a lot of sounds just don't load, which is a pain. But at a later point, I'll just have my own loader because I do want to have not just, you can't edit the sounds either at the moment. You can just test and change the variable names. But at a later point, you will be able to create synthetic sounds. So you'll have like old school, like there was a SFX something R, I think it was. It was like a little app that you can make NES style sounds on. So something like that, but a bit more powerful, where you can synthesize new explosion sounds and new shooting sounds inside the thing, and it will create wave files for Scratch export. So I'll do a whole lot of that sort of stuff, which is pretty straightforward. I don't know how well it does MP3s and other kind of sounds. I think it will depend on your operating system, which is a pain. But the good thing is the export will export everything out, even if it can't play it internally. And so it may work on the HTML export, even if it doesn't work internally. So let's just go make some scenes. We go down to scenes. I love the fact that the scene list is completely different selection to the way the other one works. That's a pain as well. Alright, so new scene. We're going to call this title. And we're going to just change, let's use any alphabet. That's not true. I'm pretty sure you can use, let's use only alphabet. And why is it not showing the whole thing? Lots of little tiny bugs. Those are the kind of bugs where I'm like, I don't really. New scene. Oh my gosh, they did not used to do that before. But I can almost guarantee I know why that is happening. In game. And I'm just gonna call it in game. And I think I'm gonna call it lowercase actually. Yeah. So title. I'm just gonna change it to title. So these are sometimes they say variables and sometimes they say things, but I'm just saying in sprites that shouldn't say variable, it should say class name. So they should have capital letters. They don't have to, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying for style's sake, I'm going with scenes. So what was I going to say? Scenes should be with a lowercase letter, but we'll see why. We'll have to find out. So we're going to create a new thing. That's interesting. You quickly saw the previous. So we'll go black, and we'll just fill it in. So there was a problem with the polygon tool. That's being fixed. So we're slowly getting the bugs. Also, I've changed some of the icons. We haven't changed these icons yet, so we're not quite there. But most of the icons I think now are ones that I've drawn. Even if they look terrible, I don't really care. They're also too dark. They're black, and you're not supposed to use actual black when you do things. So we need to have red, and we'll change that to white, and then we'll go dot 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 dot. That does not look very good. This is my outer space look. Alright, so this doesn't look anything like. We're gonna have like a little galaxy, and there's another little galaxy, and there's some other little galaxies. That's outer space. If you haven't never been to outer space, this is exactly what it looks like. Okay, and so we will go down to title and start backdrop. This is that one, and we'll go back up to the app. That's not what I was expecting. Oh, we have an error. What does the error say? Null pointer exception. Oh, well that's a pain, isn't it? Because this details is null. Gosh. Okay. I'm going to have to look at that. So there's a bug with that. I can't choose the starting thing, so I'll have to do this the old school way. Here's my flag block. Flag. Okay, we don't need to dump all variables. Okay, we're going to go title. And we're going to do on start game. Or will we? Actually, what we will do is scene in game. Alright, and we'll just see what happens when we run it. The variable in game. What did I actually call it? I did call it in game. So this is good. This is the stuff that I haven't tested for a while, and this is where things are almost certainly going to fail. Oh, I've seen in game. Can you declare scenes? What? Oh, you can. Oh, I think you have to go start in game. Alright. Again, not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to go to the title screen. So scripts, flag, go title. Going to print is let's see what we've got here. Going to title, and we have not gone to the title. And what have we got here? Cannot invoke. We have some errors. Alright, well that's I have lots of interesting errors. But maybe cannot invoke. Okay, so we have a few errors in the stage, in the scene code, which is good. So anyway, we've made some progress. We haven't really done anything new. But I'm going to fix these bugs and we'll come back and we'll finish this game. And I will work on making the web page, and I will work on making an easy to use executable of this. I've got a there's a easy way of doing this. I just have to play around more with the linkers and stuff. But there will be a version available soon, if anyone's watching this, that you'll have to install Java to run. And then a bit later on, there'll be a version that you don't have to install Java to run. You can just run it straight. But until then, thanks for watching, and we'll continue working and fixing all of this. Does it actually have the on-scene start? Oh, there's the documentation. It's right there. Start like this. So if I go, you can show that it does kind of work. Start copy, and then I can copy it, and then I can go here, and then I can go paste. And so that's the syntax to start a scene. If you want to use the on the side help, and it's got the, why have I got go something equals expression? That's not correct, so we'll have to get rid of that. You don't need that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching, and bye.